Hi, Colby.
Hi. We're
How are
good.
you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So we got through the technicalities.
We got through it. We got through it.
Thank you so
Much. We batted it out of the park.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're here to speak about the curveball. So the curveball is a story of grit, adversity, and winning the game of life. So thank you very much once again for joining me. I've had the pleasure of having you for twice in 1 week, so that's great.
That's a record. I've never had that before.
Is this your first live?
Yeah, first one
Yeah,
ever.
mine too. So
Other,
there you
other
go.
than myself.
I've never done it by myself. Right. So we did a podcast and that'll be out at some point next week. So I've started working on it. So that should be out probably like mid to late next week. So I'm excited to get that out. Because we had really good fun on the podcast. So and then we didn't have enough time to to go through some of the other questions that I had pertaining to the book. So yeah, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. Whenever you're ready. I'm ready right now.
Perfect. So yes, okay. So your book is for those of you who haven't read it, go onto Amazon and place your order. It's a great Christmas gift as well. But my thing would be to ask you is there a character in the book that was inspired by real life?
I think, returning back to my personal journey and the adversity that I clearly went through, with the learning disability and out of that and into the normal school system, I think those people that I had the pleasure to be around at that school and really just profoundly changed me, those were the real inspirations for Spooky. Always having your back in the back corner, reliable, dependable, really there when you need it. I'd say other than that, I think Bryce certainly, Bryce, there's a lot of Bryce that I see, in bit in myself, bit in a few other people that I kind of use to construct the Bryce character.
Yeah, I said this to you before. I think we all need to have a Spooky Jones in our corner to, give us reminders of all the stuff that we've forgotten whilst
Totally.
we've been trying to get to our goals. So
Totally.
yeah, absolutely.
To really just pull you back and say, you're not on the right path. Here's how to change course.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to remind you of like all the lessons that you've gone through and that you've learned on the way that we seem to forget as every time we reach another goal, we always end up forgetting like the lessons that got us there in the first place. So
and it's interesting, someone remarked on the Spooky character, it's kind of like Scrooge and the ghost of Christmas Past vibe to
it. Yes, it's the ghost of Christmas Past. Absolutely. I know, right? I love that. And I was actually thinking about that last night. I was like,
Yeah.
that is so true. Yeah. Talking about Bryce though, like, so how did you come up with the character of Bryce in his whole? I mean, like, it's a powerful journey that he's going through, and it's a journey of self-discovery. So, how did that come about?
So I really wanted to have like a stud baseball player that, on the face of it, really just wins at life, but he's going through inner struggle, internally. He's going through struggle, and he's using, the life he's having right now to mask his pain. And I think that's something we all can deeply relate to in any whatever fashion it is. But I wanted to find a way that he's successful, but then throughout the book, kind of rehumanize him, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, there's a strong sense of growth in his character.
Because that would lead to inner catharsis, and to really see Bryce, being invulnerable, taking him down several pegs, until we get to the final ending of the book. But I wanted to have like a stud baseball player, because I certainly, played with a lot of those guys, and I wanted to find a way to really, he's the quote unquote, superstar.
Yeah, I mean, he is a stud of like, like you said, like, that's the character how you wanted him, but he's going through his own journey, and I just love how it comes full circle. Like, you know, I said before, like, I don't want to ruin the ending, but for me, I just love the maturity that his character goes through in each chapter, and it's the realization of that, you know, he doesn't need to hide behind the drinking, and you know, he changes perspective on what his ultimate goal was, and now that he's living it, how his perspective's changing.
And we see him, you know, he's willing to sacrifice a lot for Stefania, for the newborn. And I think it's a testament to, once you're faced with triggers, when you're faced with externalities like that, it does really motivate a great change in perspective. So I think it's, I think that's it. I think in terms of creating a character, you know, it was a very well done character.
Yeah, I loved his character. Thank you. So who do you see yourself in? Any of these characters, you know, who do you see yourself in more?
I see myself in Bryce to a certain extent.
Okay.
I see myself in Coach Teller to a certain extent, in terms of, like, you know, like a motivator in a way. That's a great question, actually. But I'd say Bryce in ways, for sure.
Bryce more. Which aspects of the book would you, or from the story, would you want people to take away from more, like, as a whole, you know, when they're reading it? What are the key aspects that you want them to take away from it?
Chapter 6: always have a great woman by your side.
I like that.
But then chapter 8 was awesome.
Oh yeah, chapter 8 got me bawling.
Visit by Sid Mays. I think that aspect of choose your pitches, very powerful. You know, the ending, Rudolph Sandler, when he visits him in the baseball diamond, in the locker room, you know, owning responsibility for your choices, for the way you want to conduct your life. I think that's very powerful. And I think certainly chapter 1, the visit by Spooky, you know, really take life and aim to take life and live it on life's terms, but go one base at a time.
Yeah. So yeah, Spooky's rules for grit, I love them. One base at a time, choose your pitches, remember your rituals, adversity is a team sport, and always remember, you don't succeed in spite of adversity, you succeed because of it. So I love the fact that you included that all in the back. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's go back. Right, so where did you come up with the idea of mixing baseball with life lessons? I mean, I'm from the UK, so baseball is not a game that we're used to unless we watch American TV and we see baseball. But from what I've seen on TV, like, there is a lot of life lessons, you know, even just in sports in general, like how you can take those aspects and put them into your own life. But how did you come up with the idea of mixing baseball with life lessons?
Well, I think it really spoke to two of my passions. You know, I've loved sports. A lot of my family members play sports. And I wanted to find a unique way to really, you know, combine the two in a way that would make it, like, very subtle, but still very powerful. You know, in these multiple times, we're all searching for, you know, a story, some kind of way that's like light and breezy and fun, and to have, you know, a great impact as well. So I think I wanted to just find a way to combine the two. You know, I was a baseball player, and I love, like, self-help, personal development books. So I wanted to put that in as well.
So are you a hardcore baseball fan? And if so, who's your favorite team?
Oh yeah, it's Toronto Blue Jays for sure.
Sorry, what was that?
The Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, okay.
Our local team.
And do you go to much of their games, or like pre-COVID?
Yeah.
Pre-COVID.
COVID, obviously, yeah. There a lot. We were really there a lot.
When did you first get the idea to write this book?
I don't know the precise, like, moment where, like, I'm gonna write a book. I really don't remember what that was like, but I remember it was summer 2016, I was thinking, and we were on a trip, and like I remember myself in the hotel room of somewhere, and I was going to the business center, and I was just like writing, and I was like, I don't know what the heck I'm writing, but like it, it was in like a good mood. But then, it was like summer, and then I started to actually really put pen to paper and really start to um, just create like a draft and just really just go from there.
So that's where you got your inspiration. So it just came to you. Did you start off with Bryce, or
No,
did it start off the way it was, or did it
no,
evolve?
no. It was a lot of iterations. Bryce's name was Greg Clark before.
Yeah, you stated that in the podcast, and I was
Yeah,
just like, yeah, I'm happy you stuck with
yeah.
you went with Bryce Holloway.
A
So
lot of things needed to be changed. A lot of things needed to like be edited out, re-edited. Um, I wasn't like at that time. I wasn't really sure. Am I doing the flashbacks justice? Am I using too many of the flashbacks? Am I really overdoing it? And
I loved it. So no.
yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You didn't get lost in it. Do you know what I mean? So
No,
normally you can get lost in it. I loved
yeah,
it. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I really wanted it to be, a story that, is present, the past, but how can he build for a greater future?
and he takes those lessons. So even during the flashbacks, like he'll take those lessons that he remembers, or like he remembers through Spooky Jones, and then he applies it to what he's doing. And it's not always like perfect. Like he still stumbles, but it's like the next level of him evolving and maturing until you
Totally,
get to the last chapter.
totally, and yeah, I agree for sure.
And what was the process like when you took the idea from writing a book to actually getting it published?
Oh God, wow, 4.5 long years. I mean,
Oh, really?
so much happened then. Law graduate, law degree in that time, moved like to the UK. Back home, like so much time. It was a hard process. It was a really hard process. Like you're vulnerable. You're getting words onto paper. You're saying, does this really make any sense? Like, am I going to do a really good job of this? Then it came when I had the actual drafts done, like an actual kind of manuscript done. Then it was re-editing. So then it went to people to read over. My battery's actually going to die. Let me just charge it one second. Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, so it was a hard process, re-editing, giving it to people to read. Then, it was lockdown 1.0. And it was like, okay, now I think, this is something that can be really, really cool. And then, when it was released onto Amazon, it was like, it's done. It's there. It's there. It's like
What was that like though? Like, as in, like,
that feeling was just, I'll never get over it. I'll never ever get over it. Like it's like it's there for the world, like to see and to read, to criticize, to love.
you finally gave birth to your baby.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
you
But
mentioned that you. Sorry, go on.
that process is it's like a mental process as well, but it's also like it's like physically hard as well.
In what
And well, it's like you know you're spending a lot of time like going through stuff like again and again and again and again and again and again. And sometimes it's like the same like paragraph, sometimes it's the same line. A lot of people that are on RG Live today actually reviewed the manuscript as well. So it was incorporated. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you can see it. His name is Connor McClough 23.
Hi, Connor.
So he reviewed it. Then it was like reincorporating people's feedback. And it was like, what would actually drive the book forward or what would just take it back.
Hmm. So you'd also mentioned that you studying law,
I did.
and for the life of me, I don't understand why you moved from Toronto to the Cayman Islands to the UK. and why you'd even leave the Caribbean. But so so was it also during that time that
I'm
you're
into
writing
the
your?
cold, probably. I love the cold, probably too much.
Yeah, probably. I'd have stayed in the Caribbean. But for example, like, was it then that you were writing your book? Did you start it when you were in
No,
the Cayman Islands?
so I started the book the summer of my first year. So when I came back home, but when I was still in the Cayman Islands for school, yeah. So I started it summer 2016. I was working in Toronto, and I started it then. Then I didn't touch it literally for like 3.5 years. Like
Oh
it,
gosh.
it, it was just on my computer screen in a folder called the Curveball. And then, I graduated. Then it was like lockdown 1.0 that I think, I think I'd like to revisit this, and we'll just see what happens.
So you completed it during COVID era?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
The cover, the edits, getting the manuscript like formatted, all of that.
Okay. Well, there you go. Productivity during
Yeah.
COVID. um, what was one of Spooky's lessons that you had to learn the hard way?
Good question. Good question. Um, I think uh, I think going like one base at a time. I really think because there's one. I've always kind of been sometimes kind of like um, going for like the bigger kind of things, the bigger kind of like whether like, it's like a job position or et cetera, but not truly going through like the process and like finding what it is that I'm truly like passionate about. So I would say definitely would be one base at a time.
Um, how did you get the inspiration to sit down every day to write your book? I mean,
That
you
was
did say that you
hard.
didn't touch it for 3 years, but as in like when you were writing, like how did you get that motivation?
That was very, very hard. So I think, starting with like an amazing why was a big part of it. Because with the why, it led to the how, and then it led to a completed product. Um, I'd say the people I was around, I'm very grateful to have been like inspired by my father, like in writing like the book. I remember we were on our deck and it was like, here's how you do characters, here's how you do X, Y, and Z. And I was soaking it in and I was taking notes. I'm like, okay, so here's how I'll do it. Here's what it would look like. But I think it was just the daily discipline to actually sit down for an hour a day, wherever you are, in a coffee shop. I wrote like in a restaurant, in a coffee shop, like on the subway, like anytime I would really actually like productively try to write. It wouldn't be like good, but it would just be like writing.
Through iterations, yeah. No, I mean, like I said, I mean, like I can imagine like it would have taken a lot of time. The book, there is so much maturity in it. Do you know what I mean? There are so many aha moments, and I mean, for me personally, obviously, like, for me, like, there were so many aha moments where I'm just like, oh, yeah, like, if you just change your perspective, or it's like, if you just got a second chance to redo something, like, how would you redo it, mentally, in terms of also emotionally, would you be more grateful for it? Would you live more in the moment rather than once you've reached your dream, you're just like, oh, okay, what's, the next step?
I think, just reverting back to the previous question on the rules that I really learned the hard way, I'd say maybe the power of like rituals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a big one for me. I love that. Yeah,
Totally.
yeah. Because
What
when you
was
have your
your aha
rituals,
moment, would you say?
my aha moment was chapter 8. That was like, so for example, like there was a few like, at the beginning, but chapter 8 completely got me. Like literally it took me by surprise when I started bawling. I'm like, why are you crying? But it was just the fact that like the most pivotal moments in his life where he was in the hospital and Sid Meier's comes over and he visits him and he starts talking to him. But the most crucial aspect of it was when Bryce thought that his future was over, or that
Yeah.
he wouldn't be able to go back to baseball. But Sid
Yeah.
Meier's also gave him the advice of just take it slowly, heal first, and
Mm-hmm.
then go back and be better.
Mhm.
He's, and the fact that you've got choices and it's how you respond to those choices in life, and that's what I loved. Yeah.
And just like I still remember writing that intro paragraph, like, he's lovingly touching the trophies on the wall in his home, or what he thinks is his home.
Yeah.
I liked writing that kind of dream sequence in many ways, because it was like, is it true? Is it not true? And it just, like, it's a great mystery, actually. Um,
Yeah. And
but
also, I loved the ending as well. I just loved how it came full circle, because Spooky did keep asking him, like, what is, what is your goal? What is your dream? And it was always
yeah,
about baseball. But and then he was like, but why? And he's like, to
yeah,
be a hero, but
yeah,
why? And it's like to win the championship ring, and why? And it's just like, it was more important. It was like when he goes back and he's like, well, I've always felt that I'm going to be in baseball, and do you know what I mean? But it's just like, it's the ending. So I'm not going to give away the ending, but I love the ending, how you brought it back full circle, but it's even more meaningful because it wasn't in the way he expected it.
sure,
But it
sure,
was even more
sure.
special because, yeah.
I
I'm
think
not going to give it away.
it's of the hero's journey. He's at
Mm,
a point, reaches an up point, and he just goes back around.
absolutely. Um, are you creating another book? Are you working on another book? Are you taking a break and just enjoying the moment?
I have like a few thoughts, but right now I'm just focused on just being present, enjoying this, enjoying the moment, enjoying promoting the heck of this book.
Perfect. Why? So I did actually want to ask you this during the podcast, and I didn't get a chance. But 1927, the best baseball team was the New York Yankees.
We're gonna,
Why was that? Or why are they referred to as the best team that ever
because
played?
historically they had two of the greatest players in history, Babe Ruth and Lou
Hmm.
Gehrig. Lou Gehrig, who gave his name to the ALS disease, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and their average was just spectacular. There were, statistically were so high, and the team was so strong based off um, the strength of those two guys. And I think they won like a couple World Series in a row.
Yeah, and that's what also makes the ending special. I'm not giving it away, but that's what makes the ending very special. Okay, so one of the last two questions. Who is your role model and why?
Well, I'd say my father for sure is one. Um, I'd say I'd say like Mahatma Gandhi actually. You know, try to leave the world like a better place. Try to be the change you want to see in the world. Um, I think I went to his school. It's called John Vanier Catholic High School, and it was named after Jean Vanier. His great like Canadian humanitarian who created this like community in France for people with like learning challenges and people to have a great sense of community and to not have to feel like they're ostracized. But he has been one of my role models because I had the pleasure to actually meet with him in France about like 10 years ago. And I went to that original village, and he was like this massive 60, and I was like an 85-year-old guy.
I love it when you're younger and people influence you without you realizing at the time, but how it sticks with you
Totally,
as you're older.
totally,
Yeah.
totally.
So what was it like? So your father is Robin Sharma.
Mhm.
What was it like when he read your book and he gave you feedback?
Great question. Great question. You know, at first he was like, the story is very, very sound. It's a very good story. It's a very well written story. I'm just not sure if like the flashbacks, are the flashbacks kind of going to work? But then, I gave him like another draft, and he's like, "Wow, okay, now this is something that is really, 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 really well done, and is a very, 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 very strong read." And
Yeah, I love.
and he could see, I had the why. I had like that passion to really take this book from ideation to creation, uh, and my heart was just in it like every step of the way.
What was your why?
Because of my personal journey, I see myself in the kids that, had like a learning disability, like a learning challenge, but even people other than that, just, they're going through like a tough time in their lives right now. I really just did it for them. I did it for them because I could see myself in them because I was like that myself. And, I think I was coming from that perspective, and I just wanted to do something that would be, inspirational, fun to read. I think fun to read was an extraordinarily big element. We need stuff like this at this time in this present moment. And fiction, I've always loved reading fiction. I've read, the Dickens book. I've read, Le Petit Prince, The Little Prince, all those kinds of great books. And I think that's a great vehicle to really share a very inspirational message.
So after lockdown, let's say after COVID, right? What is one of the first countries that you want to go traveling to? Like, what is the dream after COVID? Like, what is it that you want to do?
Is that even a question? The United Kingdom?
Really? What? I still don't get that. I mean, I still can't believe you went from the Cayman Islands to the UK. But hey, that's down to you. But
United Kingdom, then Italy.
Oh yeah, okay.
Viva Italia.
So I'm in quarantine. I'm on my 7th day because I just got back from traveling. But 7 more days and then I finally get to be free. And my friend was like, I know, my friend was like, what's the first thing you want to do? I was like, I just need to get coffee, like literally from Starbucks. I just want to go there, grab my coffee.
Do you have a favorite coffee shop you go to?
Yeah, Starbucks. Only because I love the Christmas drinks. Like, I love toffee nut latte. So
good point.
Yeah.
I love the caramel brulee latte.
Oh, I can't. I know it's too sweet for me.
Sure.
Yeah. So you got a sweet tooth.
Yeah, I love sweets.
So it's Christmas. Any big plans over the holidays?
Just like friends, just family. There's someone I'm talking to right now, so we'll see how that goes. Thank you. But other than that, just no plans. Just relaxing, just taking it easy.
Yeah, fair enough. Promote the book, The Curveball, guys. Amazon.
Curveball.
Amazon.
It's gonna be a great Christmas gift for you and yours. So your family,
absolutely,
friends, and I discounted the price for our Christmas specials. So if you have a second, guys, definitely get yourself the copy. You won't regret it. You can get it on Amazon and at colbysharma.com. We are accepting online payments.
Oh, and Colby, also you're doing some artwork from the book. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, of course. So, I've always loved drawing. I've always loved like painting. And in the process of doing this book, I regained like my love of like drawing and like painting. So I was just like doodling like illustrations of like Bryce, like Stefania, like Spooky, and I have those prints kind of ready. So I'm going to be doing, I have a package where if you buy a bulk order of the books, 10 or more, so right now at the current price, it's around $160. I will give away a free canvas print of a character from the book, which would normally be $100. But so you're getting a great value add in addition to a great fiction book.
Well, I want Spooky Jones, so.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the Spooky Jones character coming to life.
And they're signed as well, so very nice. Very nice.
There you go, everyone. Christmas gift ideas. But no, it is really well worth it. I mean, like, I'm very particular with reading books and, and for them to inspire me and make me think about my own life. And that's exactly what the Curveball has done. I mean, like, I've written in it, so this is definitely not going to be a Christmas gift to anyone. But yeah, so this really did make it on the list, and it's a testament to you and the work that you put into it and your imagination. And I hope it positively impacts people, because it's definitely done it for me. So thank you so much, Colby.
Thank you so much. Try to make the best out of your quarantine. It's not.
I've got more books coming through Amazon.
Awesome. Awesome.
So yeah, so with that, I think we finished my first ever live, your
Woo!
first ever live. There we go. And thank you much for everyone. And also the podcast that I did with that Colby and I did, that'll be out next week, and I'll put in the details on my page.
Thank you so much, guys. Dina, it's a great pleasure to be with you again. Always enjoy our time.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you taking time to speak to me. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone.
Take care, guys. Bye. Have a great day.